touch anything. Don't touch anything. Don't move. Don't breathe. I don't know what will bring back the cold, man. I'm very paranoid that the cold is going to come back. And I think if we all just sit very still and talk about video games, that the cold will leave us the fuck alone for a little while. I don't know. I might be have some lingering trauma from the ice apocalypse last week.
It's a tricky one with our weather. It was 50 out. It's 50 outside right now, but it was like 86 in like the afternoon.
Yeah. But you know what? I feel really bad because of all the horrible things that happened last week. The Rage Select podcast did not come out, and there was a whole week. I swear to God, you guys, if I had like a steam engine, if I had like a Thomas Edison, like help me come quick, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rage Select podcast. If I could have done it on a wax cylinder, if I owned a wax cylinder, you can be sure I would have used it, but alas, I did not.
Done it in Morse code.
Just boop, 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 boop. That would have taken a lot. First, I would have had to learn Morse code. Then I would have had to use Morse code.
Stop. Dick joke. Stop.
I like the idea of having
Kojima. Stop.
Somebody is listening to my Morse code, like speaking out loud into a Twitch live stream. Like, so welcome back. We're back. I think this might be. I think it might be like the only time that we've missed a Rage Select podcast in the history of Rage Select with me, Jeff.
Pretty much in a long time, and with me, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I like there have been times when I've been sick there and I've had other people do it. There have been times when I've been injured and I powered through. Usually neither dark nor rain nor too many Lone Stars and Taco Bell will keep this pod man from his appointed Let's Play rounds, but snow is a different thing. I don't have any way to deal with that. I could take my lighter outside and throw cigarettes at the snow until it goes away, but it didn't seem to work like that. So
the snow's fake, haven't you heard, or whatever?
Oh God. Yeah, fuck you. You can go fuck yourself with that fake snow bullshit. Like anyway, so definitely a family show for everybody. We have a lot of news this week, and I don't want to stand too hard on ceremony because I'm just going to put like a picture of a snowball in the. I felt really bad because Bryce and I did that podcast the week before last, and I was like, it's a super cold wintertime Rage Select podcast, and then like the day after I posted that, I lost power for 48 hours and literally was like chopping wood like a medieval peasant to stay alive. And after that, I had to gather rainwater from the fucking gully like a medieval peasant to flush my medieval toilet. I guess maybe this is just a reason to bring back outhouses. Anyway, I feel like I've been talking a mile a minute. Michael, how was your apocalypse? Was it good? Did you have a good one?
It was weird. I don't know. It wasn't as bad as a lot of other people's. My power would just go out in large intervals, but it would always come back. Like, I was never out of power. I was never without power for 24 hours kind of thing. Like I would be without power for maybe 3 hours, and then it would turn on, maybe an hour, and then it would turn on. Like, it was just weird. Like, I was just so annoyed from having to set my clocks on my oven and my microwave over and over again. That was my first world problem.
Oh my God!
I was consistently having to change those.
By hour 45, we had developed a system to sleep in shifts so that one person could keep the fire going, so the temperature didn't drop low enough to be actually life threatening to humanity. So, no.
Exactly. My big inconvenience was the clock.
Yeah, my power went off on Sunday at 2 a.m. and didn't come back until I don't know when, because I literally went to somebody else's house that had like a fireplace that I could put wood into. And then, as soon as the power came back on, the water went out. So that was really fun. But I mean, I feel like I could tell you these stories, but why? They're not as entertaining. They're not as entertaining as all the video game shit that happened. Like,
yeah, it was just so insane. Like, you guys, like sure, mine wasn't that bad, but everybody else's was just like, man, it was like, fuck.
Yours wasn't a walk in the park. You were talking to me about how you had no gas. The gas stations were all shut down because they didn't have anything. You busted your ass on the ice. Like,
I still had some terrible shit happen. It's just compared to most people's, my terrible shit was still not that bad.
I don't really think I know anybody who is just like, man, last week was the tits. I loved it. Let's do it again. Come on. It was great. I made a snow angel and boiled some stew.
Oh my god, my favorite was this Reddit post I think I saw that was about a guy whose brother was like a survivalist, but for some reason all of his survivalist shit was surrounded by electronical equipment. And so, like, the dude fucked up, like, constantly. Like, he had all this canned food, but he only had an electric can opener.
Oh, no!
And he had all this, like, other shit that involved electronics, and the guy was just like, he has plenty of ammo, but he's got jack shit for everything else.
He should have called Bean Dad, right? Bean Dad could have taught him how to get those cans open. You know, he just has to look at the can and think about what the can is, and then think about, or he could have gone with that, like, what was that PlayStation VR game? There was like that Super Americana game, but you used like handguns to do everything. Like you used handguns to put your burger on, and he could have just shot open the cans of beans. And then he shot a hole in the bottom, and then like a hole in the top, and then shotgun a can of beans real fast. Boom, you're good to go. So, yeah,
it was really funny just seeing like, this guy's entire life was like built up for this moment, but he didn't plan it very well at all.
Bum, 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 bum. Well, you know what? We could sit here telling stories about stupid fucking Texas and its stupid goddamn power grid and its stupid goddamn water grid and its stupid goddamn state representatives. I like my normal range, like, don't talk about politics things. Ted Cruz, you are making this hard. You are making this hard, motherfucker.
We can talk about HEB instead.
Yeah, and how awesome they are.
Our true Lord and Savior, the HE buddy.
Anyway, we have not one, not two, but like 3 giant conferences / announcements videos, plus everything else that happened, and we are not going to get to all of it. I'm just going to tell you right now, we are not getting to all of it.
There's no way.
If we were halfway through the Nintendo Direct now at minute 7, we might get through all of it. But there is absolutely no way we're going to get through all of it.
No. We can skip some stuff.
Yep. We're going to try to do as much as we can. So strap it on and buckle down with your smuckers. We're going to get the show on the road. I just noticed the Nintendo Direct has 63,000 upvotes and 17,000 downvotes, and I'm pretty sure those 17,000 downvotes are all Smash Brothers fans, because
absolutely
the first thing actually I saw a lot of people that just were like, I hated this Nintendo Direct, and I was like, I don't know, I guess this is that special brand of weird Jeff cynicism where I'm like, I've been waiting for Bayonetta news for like 1,000 days, right? Like, you guys, and you're like, nothing was really interesting to me, and I'm like, welcome to the fucking party, pal. Like, I've been waiting for Metroid and Bayonetta for years, and those motherfuckers refuse. And this is just like another brick in the wall. But I don't know, I kind of like some of this stuff.
There's some decent stuff in it, to be honest. So
we started with Smash, with our next Smash, and it's a Xeno. It's a Xenoblade. It's like 3 Xenoblades, right? It's like a guy and a girl Xenoblade, and then it's like they turn into another girl Xenoblade.
Are you talking about like just this character's like? Yeah, it's the woman who's the living sword.
Okay.
Of the main character.
I kind of remember that.
Who can also transform into like
a blonde lady,
another blonde sword, I guess. I don't know. And then he's part of her special.
Yeah.
Main character.
So I feel like of all the things that we have to talk about this week, Michael, I have the least to say about this, because like, hey, look, Nintendo put another sword wielding Nintendo property character into Smash Brothers. Somebody alert the authorities! Like, look out! No one could have seen this coming. Even though the last one, who was before Steve? Who was before Steve?
Min Min.
Was Min Min before Steve, or was there somebody between the two of them?
Well, because I think Min Min was the first of it, and then it was Steve, and then it was
Min, Steve, Sephiroth, her. Okay, so I don't know.
Of this like fighters pack thing or whatever it would be called. I forgot what it was called.
There was another one in there, but I guess I'm mistaken. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I don't pin my hopes and dreams on who Nintendo puts into Smash because that is a fucking sucker's game. You do a little bit, but you got your wish. You hit the triple cherries. So
I got so many of my favorites in there that I was just like, I'm done. I don't need that much more. Like you gave me Solid Snake already, and like the Belmonts and Terry fucking Bogard. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm good, guys. I'm all bonered out right now.
Do you have any thoughts on Mithra? I mean, if you say no, my feelings aren't going to be hurt because like she just looks like, I don't know, just like some bullshit. Like here's a Xenoblade.
Well, my only thought is that it's neat that they have like the Sheik thing again, because that was the thing that I remember them when they separated Zelda and Sheik into two separate characters. Mm-hmm. People just assumed they weren't going to do something like that again, and then lo and behold, this character does that little thing all over again.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, we moved on to. I'm not sure if this is in the same order that the things were when they were on the presentation, but I feel like we should be able to zip, zap, zoop through these pretty quickly. Fall Guys is going to be on the Nintendo Switch this summer, which I keep forgetting that it's not already. I kind of just assume that Fall Guys is on every platform, but it's...
I was hearing that a lot when they were announcing, because I watched a bunch of like people were reacting to it, because I was curious as to how people would react to the Smash Brothers thing, but I'll just let them play. Like, I'll let Giant Bomb, I think Rubber Ross, and a few others. Yeah, every single one was like, is Fall Guys not already on the Nintendo?
Apparently not, but it will be soon. That means we're going to get some sick Fall Guys Mario costumes. I mean, that's a match made in heaven, man. Fall Guys on the Switch, like that's perfect. Outer Wilds is going to be on the Switch, which is cool. Outer Wilds is great.
It's really cool.
Yep.
I knew a guy who was like one of his favorite games of that year.
That was 2019, right? Yeah, it was 2019, wasn't it?
It was 2019, I think. I don't know, it's been a while, but it's a really good game from everyone who told me about it was.
Yeah,
but I never really got around to doing it. I know it was free on Game Pass for a bit. I don't know if it still is.
You can watch Michael and John and I play it if you want to get a sense of what's going on. I feel like I ended up playing it, and I eventually hit a point where I was like, I don't think I have the patience to go any further, and I don't think I want to look up I don't think I just want to look at a guide to solve this game, so I think I just kind of stopped. But I do kind of want to someday I'd like to go back to it. From there, I have no idea. Okay, Michael, do you know what Famicom Detective Club is?
Only from what they said, which is that apparently it was an old like set of Japanese games that were out for the original Famicom, and this is the first time they've ever been released in America. They've translated and basically HD'd them up. So
yeah, they're kind of seem like they feel I don't know. I mean, visual novel / Phoenix Wrighty. I think a little Phoenix Wrighty because they've got like the kind of investigation aspects going on, but. And kind of, I don't know.
That's a detective show, so yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. But there's going to be two of these on May 14th. Famicom Detective Club, The Missing Heir, and Famicom Detective Club, this site can't be reached because my internet just went out, which it makes it hard to read stuff off my screen. So Famicom Detective Club, The Girl Who Stands Behind. She should, I don't know, she's going to get hit.
That sounds sexual for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm
the girl who pegs you from behind. Nintendo mystery.
I'm kind of interested to give these a shot, but like, man, I already know that I would get bored halfway through these. Like, Phoenix Wright does it because of how wacky it is, but just how charming it is. But all the stuff they showed, this seemed like it was fine. It just seemed like very vanilla. Right, just like
it's a time constraint thing. Usually is the issue, and yeah, that's very vanilla. But I think part of that's because it's a remake of an old Nintendo game. So
yeah, I was also
only do so much with it.
I also liked the amount of animation that they had. That characters. There's a lot of like character animation going on, and a lot less just like character standing, flapping their gums. There seemed to be just like a little bit more background animation, foreground animation. So I don't know. Let's see. From there, Samurai Warriors 5 is coming to the Switch. Does anybody care? Does anybody still play?
I forgot that series even existed.
Samurai Warriors. I'm pretty sure it's also coming to the PlayStation. I'm pretty sure there was like a separate announcement for like the PlayStation trailer for it. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Having just come off of Persona, like playing a bunch of Persona 5 Strikers, I'm like, man, I think going back to the like standard Muso games sounds so boring because they're just like tappa 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 triangle, and then everybody dies. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I know that the last Dynasty Warriors was really poorly received. It'll be interesting to see if they learned their lesson. But
yeah, that's the thing. Is the only time I ever cared about games like this is when they added Gundams to them. For the most part.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe the Zelda one, and that was it. Other than that, I never cared about these.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we also got the announcement that the Legend of Mana will debut, like a re-optimized, remastered version of Legend of Mana, which if I understand correctly, am I thinking right that is like part of the like, what, Secret of Mana, like franchise?
Yeah, because I think it was originally like a PlayStation era game.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, I think it's part of that thing.
That make a certain amount of sense. I don't know. I haven't really like. I feel like I played the Secret of Mana when I was a kid, and this looks. I mean, they've got some real nice little sprite work going on and some kind of like remastered backgrounds and stuff. I don't know that I would actually go play this game.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be coming out on June 24th. We got a little bit more Monster Hunter showing off a big spider. Michael, would you like to talk about this big spider or these weird Mothra twins or all the story weirdness that happened during this strange Monster Hunter trailer?
Well, for the most part, it's just, like shit's happening like every now and then. Like it reinforces the thing that all the other trailers say is that a bunch of monsters are going to keep attacking this village, and it's up to you to keep that from happening. And there's some crazy and wacky ones like the Masarios and the spider thing. I already forgot its name. And some returning ones like the Volvold in there. It's like an anteater bear thing. And it's showing off more and more of what's going on with the hunts and stuff. And there's some pretty cool monsters that it shows off. And I'm pretty excited still. I'm hoping to be able to get it eventually when it comes out. So
I was thinking about how when we played the demo, they had that whole system where you use they're like line bugs or whatever to like wrap up the monsters and then control them, like kind of God of War style jump on them, and how that could really change some of the dynamics of Monster Hunter by like using it to control one monster in order to like weaken a second monster. I don't know. This seems like more interesting from a story perspective than I feel like some of the other Monster Hunter. I mean, I guess the only other story out of a Monster Hunter game that I really knew about was the PS4 one, the Western one, or the not Western one, but the more Western one that came out a couple years back. But that story just seemed to be like, this is monsters, man. We're all going to Monster Island. We're going to hunt all these monsters and make armor out of them. Cool. Whereas, like, protect the people in the village from these monsters. I'm like, oh, that's a good reason to hunt monsters, to keep people from dying.
From about 3 Ultimate, I think, upwards, they've tried making, like, these really intricate stories that, for the most part, can be somewhat interesting if you're... but some of them aren't. Like, I think Monster Hunter Worlds was probably one of the weaker ones, but they expanded it consistently with all the updates so that it ended up becoming more interesting as it went on. Because I remember 3's was somewhat basic, but it ended up working decently for me. But get enough story beats to get through. 4 had some really nice ones too. I don't think Generations really had one all that much, but Worlds got really interesting as it progressed, and because they really want people to get into the idea more. Because I remember you always was like, well, what's the end goal? And it's like, well, murder things and make armor out of them. It's like, yeah, but why? To make more armor to murder more things, and then so they want people to have a reason to keep doing that. So the story ends up helping a lot with that.
Yeah, I think that the main thing has been that like the gameplay in 4 turned me off. The story and world turned me off. I'm just looking to line up all of the fucking like all the lenses here at the same time, so I can get like good story, accessible gameplay all together, and then maybe one day I will like a Monster Hunter game.
Did you ever do the monster hunts in Peace Walker?
I did. I think I was talking on I think on the Sunday stream, someone was asking me, or I was just jabbering because I was by myself and I tend to jabber. That I love the concept of making the Monster Hunter monsters into tanks and fucking helicopters and jeeps and shit in Peace Walker. It's just the weird medieval aesthetic. There's a lot going on. Plus Peace Walker established the mechanics of how to fight before you had to do those bosses, and I feel like I intrinsically understood the Peace Walker mechanics more because it was just a Metal Gear game, right? And then it was like, oh well, you can call down like additional supply drops, and so I like the concept. I just have never clicked, I guess, with any of them.
Okay, it's a shame the Rex monster only shows up in that one thing.
Oh yeah, in the little like submission where you meet the cat. Yeah. Let's see. From there we got Mario Golf. It's Mario Golf. It's golf for Marios. Okay, so I know that I said that I was excited about some of the stuff, and I know that everything that we've said so far, I've been like, man, I'm not really very excited about that. But I'm not really very excited about golf. Not Mario Golf. Any golf. Like I played House Hole in One golf, and that was all the golf I needed in my life, and then I was done. I'm sure that this will be a very fun version of Mario Golf if that's what you're into. They have that real strange like speed mode they were talking about, where it's like everybody's golfing at the same time and just kind of running around and jumping on each other's heads and throwing blue shells and like kind of. I
actually really like the idea of that though. Like that's the only thing about the entire thing that makes me interested in it, because it's something you see in like TV and movies all the time, where they're just like, let's just haul ass and like try to golf as fast as we can, but like do that in Mario, and I'm like, that's kind of fun, to be honest, especially if you actually like have people to do that with.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that this is like, I mean, it's like Mario Tennis, right? Like Nintendo doesn't tend to make like bad games. It's just like, am I interested in playing golf with a bunch of Marios? And I'm not really. So
no, I get it. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe what sport would you put Mario in that would actually make you interested in a Mario game based on like an existing sport that's not tennis, golf, kart racing, or the Olympics? I'd
love to see Mario football, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm amazed that's not a thing. Like, I want him to like, because I miss the days of like NFL Blitz where it's like a crazy ass football game, like a football game that doesn't make any sense. Like I want Mario to do that, like where you get like mega mushrooms to plow through people and shit like that.
I think that when you said that, it made me realize that I don't like football, but I do like basketball. I think Mario basketball game would be really fun.
There was one, I think, and I think it was for a DS. I think they did something like that.
Oh, they also did
ages ago.
Strikers, right? Soccer.
Oh my god, I loved Strikers. That game was great. I played the shit out of that.
But I think that in my heart of hearts, Michael, I have to be clear that it's got to be Mario Roller Derby. That's what I really want. It's just,
yes, that should be a thing.
A bunch of Marios
100%.
on roller skates. I want to see Waluigi on a bunch of roller skates, dressed up like a goth girl, shoulder checking Princess Peach into the side of the roller derby rink. You know,
that's my favorite thing about Waluigi, by the way, is that he's only in like the sports and racing games. Like he's like, you guys deal with your adventure nonsense. Call me when you want to just like hang out, and that's the only time he shows up.
Is that okay? So, is that the only thing that would make everybody happy? Is if they put Waluigi in Smash? If Waluigi was the next Smash character, would that be acceptable? Do you think, to the Smash community? You've got your finger on the pulse of the Smash community, at least more so than I do. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, he's just the giant meme, really. But people legitimately really want. It's more because people want Luigi. Well, not Luigi. They want Waluigi more in stuff that isn't just this.
Yeah,
like they want like Waluigi's. Like he became this huge character all of a sudden among these memesters. And they're just like, he just deserves better. And honestly, I kind of think he does. Because, yeah, like I said, all he does is just hang out. Like, he never shows up for any of the adventures like Wario does. He's just in the background, and he's just like, oh, we're going kart racing, I guess? And like, or we're going golfing. He just, pulls out his stuff and just comes on over.
Yep. Let's see. We had a whole bunch of kind of clustered announcements here. So I reported, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or before that, Tales from the Borderlands got put back on stores. And Tales from the Borderlands is going to be on the Nintendo Switch, which I think everybody loves that game that has played it.
Even people who don't like Borderlands really like it.
Yeah. So we're getting that. That Capcom Arcade Stadium came out where it's like, what was that thing on Xbox? Was it the virtual arcade where you could have like the Xbox had like the front end, and then you could just buy individual arcade games to play inside of it.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but I think it was. Yeah, I think it was maybe just virtual arcade. I think I used it once, but I didn't have money at the time, so I never actually bought anything from it.
So Capcom has done that, and you basically get 1942 for free, and then you can kind of a la carte. You can buy like. There's like a pack 1, pack 2, pack 3, or like all the packs. I know because I bought all the packs. And it's got a bunch of little crazy shit. So you get like Strider and what was the other one there? Dynasty Wars, Final Fight. You can rewind. You can change stuff. You get ghouls and ghosts and stuff like that. Commando. So it's a pretty cool thing if you're into like, old school arcade stuff. But
yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. Some of it's part of the Capcom beat 'em up bundle. So if you guys already have that, just pick what's not in there, kind of thing.
Yeah. From there, I know that a lot of people were very happy to see that apparently Stubbs the Zombie is back. They're re-releasing Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse, March 16th. Michael, would it surprise you to know that I have never played Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Pulse?
No, because I've never played it either.
I always heard good things about it, and I definitely listened to the soundtrack. Do you know about the soundtrack? It's like a bunch of 90s like alternative wacky artists doing covers of 1950s songs. But I had a really staunch anti-undead policy when I was younger. Like, I didn't want anything to do with the undead. I was like, shall not suffer the dead to walk amongst the living. No, I'm not going to play a game where you intentionally go around and bite people. Let's see.
That's such a weird thing.
I know, man. I was fucking weird. So, yeah, okay. Lollipop by Ben Queller. Death Cab for Cutie doing Earth Angel. Strangers in the Night by Cake. Every Day by Rogue Wave. Oranger did a banging version of Mr. Sandman. Like all these kind of weird. The Ravenettes did My Boyfriend's Back. This is a hell of a fucking soundtrack. Like the Flaming Lips did If I Only Had a Brain from the Wizard of Oz soundtrack, the Scarecrow song. Like, and it's very strange. Like, if you've never listened to Stubbs the Zombie soundtrack, don't wait for the game to come out. In fact, my biggest fear, they didn't talk about it, but my biggest fear was that like the licensing on those songs would be out, but I think they made those songs for the soundtrack. So,
okay.
But yeah, Stubbs the Zombie apparently is supposed to be really good. It's like a comedy where you play as a zombie and you're supposed to go around biting everybody. It's got a like 1950s vibe, kind of a Destroy All Humans-ish, right? Like,
yeah, I was thinking the same thing once you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, March 16th, this is coming out, and it's coming out not just on the Switch, it's coming out on a bunch of different places. So,
okay.
Yeah. Look at that. That's something I'm excited about. I'm super excited about that. Michael, you're excited about the confirmation that No More Heroes 3 is still occurring, that No More Heroes 3...
That's the thing. I'm just happy that No More Heroes 3 is still a thing. Like, I'm constantly happy that No More Heroes 3 is still a thing. Because after what happened with No More Heroes 2, I was like, man, I'm not going to get any more No More Heroes. And then Travis Strikes Again came out, and I was like, oh, awesome. And all I could do was hope that they would make an actual number 3, and they finally did, and I'm really excited.
I have never gotten the No More Heroes thing. I've tried a bunch of times, but like the thing that's a little strange to me, though, I mean, I don't know if you can see it on my screen, but like all the 3D sections seem so blurry. Like they seem like you got Vaseline on the camera. Like I don't know if it's just to kind of.
Yeah, that's the only thing that gives me pause is everybody's really, really shiny.
Yeah,
kind of thing, and even Travis's face is a little different than I was expecting. But I don't know. I'm hoping that by the time it's out, that I'll just get over it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks wacky. It looks, and now having played through the No More Heroes 1 and 2 re-releases with you, I think I understand what's going on in the trailer for No More Heroes 3 is like, you've got these levels where you've got to do stuff, and then in between you've got to do a bunch of bullshit chores to make enough money to be able to do another one of the bang and action levels, repeat until the game is over, the end.
Yeah, it's just full of self-referential humor and just meta humor, and I love it for that very reason. So,
right on.
I'm excited.
I don't know how much I have to say about. Oh yeah, actually, sorry. This recap I'm looking at is not actually super active. We had a few more like quick announcements. One was this Neon White, which is this weird. Like, I can't tell what the fuck is going on in this video, Michael. Like, it looks like almost like a rail shooter, but with cards. But like, I don't know. It's got a weird like you're a demon in heaven destroying angels or demons or something, and
yeah, you're like a bounty hunter, like killing demons in heaven.
Yeah,
but you have a card system to do it. Which I don't know. That could go either way.
I don't know. This is one of those ones where it might end up being too. I don't know. The weird thing is, it's
got Steve Bloom being Steve Bloom, so that's neat.
Well, there you go. That's never a bad thing. So let's see. That's coming out this winter, and then we had this big announcement for DC Superhero Girls Teen Power. I'd just like to say that this game is obviously not made for me, for any part of me.
Either of us.
Yep. It's like a third-person action game with a bunch of teenage DC girls. They're all going to high school, and then they're doing superhero stuff, and they're taking selfies and beating up villains, and it looks super basic, and it looks like something that somebody much younger and maybe of a different gender than me would probably enjoy.
Yeah, it's based on a cartoon show that's on currently that is, these characters. The only thing that bums me out is that this is the closest thing I'll have to using Superman in anything at the moment.
Oh yeah,
because Supergirl's in the game.
But Michael, what about when they finally put out the Snyder Cut tie-in video game that they've been working on?
It's gonna be a phone game. That's what they did with those other ones they did.
That's
for
true.
Man of Steel and BVS. Did you know BVS's game was just an endless runner?
That doesn't surprise me. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
It was so weird. It's like Batman v Superman. Just watch Batman run, and then swipe left or right.
Like they made a Pacific Rim game, and it was a Kinect game. Like why? That's the perfect franchise to make a video game for, and you made the worst version of a video game.
Well, there was a normal fighting game one for that one, if I remember.
I think it was
correctly.
I thought it was Kinect. No,
well, there was an Xbox Live Arcade one that was like $10. That was it wasn't super great either, but it wasn't Kinect. I remember that at least.
Okay, fair enough. Good.
They should have made a better game out of it though.
Plants vs. Zombies, the Battle for the Neighborhood Complete Edition, which I believe is just Plants vs. Zombies Battle for the Neighborhood 2, or the third-person action one with all the DLC is coming to the Switch. That's good. Those games are fun if you've never played them and you're looking for like just a lighthearted PvP, PvE romp. I mean, super creative, super charming. Not much more to say outside of that. Let's see. From there, okay. I don't really know what Miitopia. I like sort of remember Miitopia. It was like on the Wii when they were doing the Mii thing, and everybody was supposed to have the Miis, and then they made this kind of like light RPG, but you could put all the Miis from your Mii and like your friends list Miis in as the various characters in the game, and then play this kind of basic like RPG action game. Is that what that is?
I don't know. It reminds me of those old, not old, but the 3DS Street Pass games. But I'm guessing it's closer to what you said. To be honest.
Yeah, I seem to remember that, but like, do you don't even? I mean, I feel like do you make a Mii on the Switch? Do they make you make a Mii on the Switch?
Yeah, you can make a Mii on the Switch.
Okay, is it anywhere? Is it used in any other context, like outside of your Mii Fighter and Smash?
Well, I know in Super Mario, the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U re-release, you can play like these what are they called? Like speedrun modes. You can use your Mii as a Mario character.
Okay.
Other than that, that's the only thing I know outside of that they're used for.
I never played this, so I don't really have any big like, oh my god, I can't believe it. They're bringing my favorite Wii game to the Switch. Oh, geez. Can't wait, you guys. I guess it would be nice. I do have some friends on my Switch friends list. Like when it comes out, we could always get it and then like let all the people from Rage Select be in the Rage Select party.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
That could be a thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Animal Crossing is getting a bunch of Super Mario stuff. Cool. Michael, do you?
It's nice. Yeah. I don't play Animal Crossing, unfortunately. So it's neat, I guess.
Yeah. It's a little strange. I guess you can make your Animal Crossing into a big Mario place if you want. So, huzzah! Great, wonderful, happy for all of you Animal Crossing players. Yeah. So, let's see. From there, okay, all right. Something I'm actually like super goddamn excited about is Project Triangle Strategy. So, as of the time when this is coming out, yesterday, Michael and I actually played the demo, which came out for Project Triangle Strategy. And boy, was it a noun soup full of medieval names and mechanics that weren't very well explained, that I got somebody killed on. Actually, this podcast will come out the same day that video comes out, so you will have already seen how terrible I am at Project Triangle Strategy. I like this. I like the concept of being like, so there's always been this part of me that's like, listen, when game companies get all like sassy, they become the sassy bitches, and they're just like, well, gamers want like $6 billion worth of facial motion capture and like, everything in the world to be picture perfect down to the smallest detail, and so games cost $1 billion to make. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. You can just make a bunch of pixel guys talking to each other and then have like a decent fighting system in an RPG, and I would play the hell out of that. And that's what this is. It looks like, the way I described it,
crazy names.
Oh yeah. The way I described it was, I feel like this is to Final Fantasy Tactics the way that Octopath Traveler was to OG Final Fantasy.
It's a good way of explaining it too.
Yeah. It looks like it's going to have this system where you have to make like different moral decisions, and then you have this like triple scale that like balances depending on your decisions, and will affect like where the story goes and what happens. I really like the way, I think they did this in Octopath Traveler as well, where they have like pretty standard 8-point turnarounds for all the different pixel characters, but then the environments are 3D, but they're made out of voxels, little squares, so they look like they match pretty well, like they mesh together well. Yeah, I don't know. This is my kind of game. Unfortunately, it's not coming out until 2022, but if you have a Switch, you can play a limited time demo. I kind of wish the demo had been earlier when there was less stuff happening, so you could have gotten a little bit more of a chance to figure it the fuck out before going into the deep end.
I was surprised that they started it that late. I'm amazed they got that far into it.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, we got a really basic like teaser for this new free-to-play Star Wars game called Star Wars Hunters that is a it seems like it's like a multiplayer thing. We didn't actually see anything.
There was a small description somewhere that said it was like a third-person shooter.
Okay. This seems like do we know who's making this actually?
Zynga?
Oh, right. Zynga, and then it's being published under the new Lucasfilm Games. So, yeah, obviously they're branching. This is probably super early in development, considering we got the news that they were like letting EA out of the exclusivity contract like a month ago, and they were just like, do you Farmville guys, you guys want to make a Star Wars? And they were like, yes, we will make as many Star Warses as you want.
I'm sure everyone was like, can I have Star Wars? And they're like, sure, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. Apparently this is going to be out this year. I don't have any there's no real information, or I haven't seen anything else about it. From there, we got this really strange like trailer for this multiplayer game with all these different characters called Knockout City. This is like a weird dodgeball game, and I think I was looking at a trailer because we're also going to talk about the PlayStation Direct or whatever that came out. Not Direct, what do they call those? State of Play. Yeah. And I feel like on the State of Play, there was a part that showed like a shrinking circle. So I'm curious if this is like a battle royale thing. All I know is that it's like some kind of weird. It reminds me a lot of the Ninja Gum game, right? Where
okay,
those on the Switch where everybody chews the Ninja Gum and then you blow the bubbles and like throw them at each other and do stuff.
I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this trailer like explains nothing. That's the issue with the Nintendo one. The Nintendo one's just like, look at all these other random characters playing this game. It's like, but what is this game? It's like, look at all these characters. Like, for love of God, and the characters have nothing to do with the actual game, by the way.
Yeah,
that they're showing off. And so when the State of Play came out, they're like, it's a dodgeball game. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. And apparently you can, like, if you don't have a ball, you can, like, roll up in a ball and then your friend can pick you up and throw you at somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, you can fastball special, motherfucker.
I have a feeling, Michael, that this is going to be another Rocket Arena. Was that what it was called? Situation?
Yeah.
We're going to play it and be like, this is okay. And then, like, 3 days later, it's going to be like, hey, it's free to play. Haha. You spent $40 on that, you dumb shit.
Yeah, the State of Play explains, like, yeah, we've been making this for like 2 or 4 years or something like that.
I said,
like, really?
4 years? That does not look like a 4-year game. Like,
I was like, what are you guys doing for 4 years?
It's dodgeball. We all know the rules of dodgeball.
It's so weird, yeah.
I don't know. World's End Club was the next thing that we saw, which was a different bunch of characters in kind of like a weird post-apocalyptic version of Japan. Like they go into this weird basement to do a thing, and then when they come out, like everybody's gone in Japan, and it looks like it's going to have some maybe like some Danganronpa-esque like who did this and who do you trust kind of stuff. I have not yet had one of these games be able to get its hooks into me. This one seems like it's a little bit more action-oriented than some of those other games, but I don't know.
I'm not even sure, to be honest. But like, it's interesting because I like the guys, or I like the games that these people have made.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never really been able to play them all the way through because they're pretty long usually.
Yeah. Along is Zenki Zero. You can tell me what you think. Let's see. Hades is getting a physical release on the Switch with like a soundtrack and an art book and all kinds of cool stuff. Hades is cool. Having a physical version, that's pretty cool too. So do it.
It's pretty rad.
Just go get it. I don't know who wanted Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 all on the Switch. I feel like I don't know that many people who think that Ninja Gaiden is good except for the first one. Like I feel like everybody hated the second one, and then everybody hated the third one. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Did you ever play any of these?
I played the first one, and the thing is, I didn't play the first one until they came out with the re-release on the PS3 because I didn't have an original Xbox. It used to be an original Xbox game, and so that game is hard as fuck, and I never finished it. But I had a friend who he beat it on every difficulty back in high school, and we're like, "You fucking crazy bastard."
That's a crazy thing. Let's see. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is getting some new DLC content in the form of an expansion pass with some new rosters and new people and new things and places and stuff. We got a Bravely Default 2 trailer. By the time this podcast comes out, that game will literally be out. There was actually a new demo that came out for it that was I liked that they said they took a lot of the stuff into consideration, that a lot of the feedback from the previous demo. Let's see. We saw Ghosts, Goblins Resurrected, which we already knew was a thing. That Saga Frontier game, and some new stuff coming to Apex Legends. And then at the very end, we had the first of the two biggies. What's his name came out to basically be like, hey, I know when you see me, you think of Zelda, but there's no Zelda news. It's not Breath of the Wild 2. We're putting out Skyward Sword on the Nintendo Switch. And at first, I was sad. And then they said you can use a controller and you don't have to waggle your hands around. And then I was like, oh, all right. I think I actually would be really interested to try playing this game just using a controller instead of all of the problems that came with the motion controls. I just hated using the motion controls for this game so much.
Absolutely, yeah, because I made a post that I'm like, hey, they're finally going to re-release it. Maybe it'll take out the motion controls so I can finally play it. And then they started explaining the motion controls, and I literally zoned out and missed them saying that you didn't have to use the motion controls.
Yeah.
So I made a post to where I'm just like, here's how we double down on the motion controls. I'm like, fuck. Only for somebody in the comments to be like, no, you can do that. I'm like, oh. Well, I literally zoned out because I couldn't give less of a fuck on the motion controls. But like it's like a right stick thing. Like you push it in a certain way to slash in a certain way, which I'm okay with. It's just it'll take some getting used to, really.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that all the enemies in Skyward Sword were designed so that they have weak points where you have to either like horizontally, vertically, or diagonally slash in order to hit them in a specific way. And so taking that out would have meant like reworking the entire challenge balance of the game from the ground up. So what it is you just flick the right stick in the direction that you would like to go, or you'd like your sword to go, and it goes that way. The end of story. And so I don't know, like I was talking with you about how I think that like if you think of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, like it makes a certain amount of sense when you think about the way the sword action went there. And I think it's like one of those things where once you get used to it, it's going to be fine. It's just going to take 10 minutes to kind of internalize it, and then you're just going to play the rest of the game. Because I was saying to Matt that I feel like my biggest problem with Skyward Sword was that the motion controls literally took me out of the game. Like they destroyed the immersion because I had to worry about swinging my arms around. Whereas when I'm holding a controller, it's like my brain just projects me inside of the video game and like, boom, there I am. So I'm really excited I don't know.
Some fancy controllers as well.
Yeah. Some fancy Joy-Cons. One is supposed to be modeled after the Master Sword, and the other one after the Shield. They both look a little silly, but I don't know, whatever. It's fine.
Honestly, they look the same to me. That's why I was surprised they even said that. I was like, really?
Yeah.
They look the same.
And then last but not least, the announcement that no one was waiting for, or I don't know, there are plenty of people that are fans. I just don't know them. Splatoon 3 is going to be a thing. I like Splatoon. I like Splatoon 2. I never played it as much as the people that were super into it. I keep seeing Nintendo is like, we're going live with the Splatoon World Championships. And I'm just like, what? People play that game enough for there to be World Championships?
That's the thing. I remember when Splatoon first came out, I was like, I don't know if this is going to survive kind of thing. But it got a huge following.
Yeah.
And enough for 2 whole sequels and adding them to Smash. Like it went really well.
Yeah. So, and it looks like there's some like weird like post-apocalyptic stuff, especially in the beginning here with the Inkling like out in this kind of desert. The Eiffel Tower is upside down and everything's all ruined. And like some of the
apparently the lore to Splatoon is it's post-apocalyptic.
Oh, okay.
I found that out from like another video of somebody reacting to it.
So it's like this is like millions of years after all the humans have been wiped out and the squids have evolved. And they're like,
apparently,
okay. I never got that far.
It's like Cars, but with squids.
Okay. And that was it. And so, okay, I guess the thing is that I don't know, Michael. I guess I on the whole, I wasn't as excited as I thought, but I'm weirdly excited about the idea of being able to play Skyward Sword with a controller. Like, for years I've wanted to love that game, and I just didn't because of the dumb motion controls. And it's like, will I finally be able to love it? Like, I don't know, maybe. It seems like it was pretty creative. I like the Project Triangle strategy. I like some of the re-release stuff that they're doing. I guess
there's some nice stuff in it. It's just I just some people were expecting some huge drops, but I don't really know why. Really, I don't know. People just want something for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Was there anything? What was your big takeaway? What was your favorite thing that stood out from all this? Or was there nothing? Or was it just boring?
Well, it was one of those things where I'm like, well, I'm interested in some of them, but nothing like blew me away, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It came down to just me being real happy for No More Heroes coming out. The Skyward Sword thing I did really like. I appreciated that, and it got me excited somewhat. But it still comes down to the fact that like people really hated Skyward Sword, so I'm like cautious towards it, kind of thing. But I still want to try it out because canonically it is the first of the Zelda games. And that's what makes me the most interested about it because I never played it.
I remember liking it. Like, I played all the way through it to review it on Spill back in the old days, and I remember liking the story and some of the mechanics. Like, I think that there was like an area where it was like it's like a desert and an ocean, and you had to flip back and forth between the two different time periods in history to do puzzles. And I was like, oh, that's fun. Like, I felt there was a lot of mechanics and like stuff in there that I kind of enjoyed. But that I just kept getting pulled out of it by the fact that you had to constantly recalibrate the dumb motion controllers. So, anyway, well, I tell you what, maybe Nintendo, maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you want to tell me about how excited you are about BlizzCon 2021.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, they put out a bunch of stuff. Did you get a chance to watch any of these? Just out of curiosity.
I only saw the Diablo 2 one because I was interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see the Diablo 4 trailer that they came out with at all.
I watched a lot of this. So the Diablo 4 trailer was interesting. It was very cinematic. It was like announcing the rogue as one of the new classes. This kind of weird thing about her killing a bunch of people for this priest. And like, okay, so in Diablo 2, I'll skip to the end of this so that you could. Well, here we'll get.
I'm just picturing like her going, "Lend me your ears," as she keeps putting the ears on.
Well, you remember in Diablo 2 that there was like you got the ears, right, for PvP, right? When you kill people, you would get the ears. At the end of this trailer, she brings this priest these baddo's ears, and he takes them and he opens up this cabinet, and the cabinet is just full of hooks, and every hook has an ear on it. So is this the guy that you were supposed to give all the ears to in Diablo 2? Is he the one?
So.
I actually watched some of the actual like kind of rundown stuff of the rogue. It seems like there's a few different. It seems like the way they're doing it is they seem to have like what World of Warcraft like trees. So there's like 3 different trees that you can get into. One of them is like a combo tree. One of them is like a Shadow Realm tree where you like put people into a Shadow Realm for a small amount of time so you can like isolate certain enemies. And there was one other one. There was some cool stuff that I hadn't seen before in the actual gameplay part where they showed that it's like a big open world now. Like it's not as segmented. So they talked about how there's like enemy camps that you can like liberate the camp, and then the camp will eventually turn back into a town where there's like a blacksmith and you can do stuff. They talked about kind of like elemental chains that you can hook up. It was pretty fun. I mean, like the thing is that I don't dislike Blizzard's games, Michael. I just dislike Blizzard the company.
That's the thing. Like Blizzard used to be one of those big tent poles of nerdism, and then in the past, like 4 or 5 years, it's really gone downhill.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people will be happy when they take a look at this footage to see how the overall. They definitely turned down the saturation on the colors. They turned the saturation down. And this looks a lot more like it looks like Path of Exile, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, where it's like a lot grayer and darker. But then apparently it's got all of the lore from Diablo in it. Like they talked about going to different places. And a kind of cool thing where they're talking about how like if you pick up weapons in different areas, that they'll be the weapons from that area. So if you go into like the mountains, you'll pick up things that look like medieval barbarian weapons. And if you're in the desert, you'll pick up things that look like a more Middle Eastern kind of kukris and stuff like that. I don't know. Anybody that wants to know more, you can go look at it. This seems like it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm not going to play Diablo 4 when it comes out. I'm going to play Diablo 4 when it comes out.
Diablo, people love Diablo, and it looks like it's going to be good.
Yep. We saw Diablo 2. Diablo 2 Resurrected, like the worst kept secret.
Yeah, 100%.
This was very weird because, like, it's not okay. Let me ask you this, Michael. When they flip from the old Diablo 2 to like the quoting figures remastered Diablo 2, it still kind of looks like a 5-year-old, 5 to 10-year-old video game. Like it's not
absolutely.
Like I think it looks not as good as Diablo 3, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if that's a bad thing though, considering.
Well, I think that maybe like it's interesting because I know that Blizzard has the money to be able to just throw money at a thing until it looks good. So I'm almost wondering whether this is more of a just like we wanted to keep it a little rough around the edges because people remember Diablo 2 looking like that. So we kind of wanted to keep it a little bit rougher so that it actually evoked the same nostalgia as like the sprites in Diablo 2.
Yeah, I think that might be part of it, to be honest. But I don't know. I'm a little excited about that because I thought Diablo 2 was the only one I remember playing at some point, but that was so long ago. I don't even remember. I don't remember a lot of it. But I was reading the comments of one of the trailers, and it's just a lot of people being really hopeful and just hoping that it just doesn't suck.
Well, hopefully they won't like make it so that you can't go back and play Diablo 2 if you purchase Diablo 2 and then fuck up all the multiplayer servers for Diablo 2 Resurrected. I don't know. This is but if I'm not mistaken though, right? Isn't this Blue Point? This isn't even Blizzard that made this, is it?
Yeah, I don't think it is, to be honest.
Which I actually think is not a bad thing because you kind of having the outside eyes on it, I feel like, is a good, like having people who really love the game be the ones to remake it as opposed to the ones that made it. I don't know. If you let the people that made the game remake it, then you get the Final Fantasy VII remake, and nobody wants that except for everybody except for me. So, but
which we'll talk about more later.
Yes, we will. I don't know. This looks fine. It's interesting. It's just interesting though to see a remaster, like with the way that like the Demon Souls remaster and things have been recently. It's interesting to see a game remastered and to look at the trailer and not go, "Oh my god, this looks incredible! I never imagined that Diablo 2 could look like this." Where I'm like, I could imagine Diablo 2 looking like this.
Yeah, it's like I was expecting a little more, but this is good too.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll be doing that. Let's see. I had to read, Michael. I had to like read an article about what the fuck World of Warcraft Classic : Burning Crusade is, because
I love the way you said that because it seems like you were angered at the fact you had to read. Like in general.
I was. Okay, so follow me on my road. All right, everybody take a seat. We're almost at break time, so you guys can go to the bathroom in a minute. Just for right now, sit down and shut the fuck up. All right, so World of Warcraft, that happens. We have World of Warcraft. There are many expansions over the years. We're currently in whatever, the 12th expansion. And then like people are like, boo, we want shit Warcraft from the day you launched when it was bad before it was good. And Blizzard is like, okay. So they make the servers. They make the World of Warcraft Classic servers. Fine. You don't want any of the upgrades? You don't want any expansions? You can play on World of Warcraft Classic servers. Great. I understand that. I don't. I mean, let me use my quotiest finger voice. I understand that like you have this weird boner for the shit game that you played in middle school and you want to go back to the crap ass mechanics of early MMOs. Whatever. People still play EverQuest 1. Right. So if your whole point of playing World of Warcraft Classic was that you wanted to play World of Warcraft unadulterated, the original version, why would anybody want the expansion to World of Warcraft Burning Crusade? Because like aren't you just repeating history? Aren't you literally doing the same thing? Like you got tired of the shit old version and now you want them to upgrade to the next version. Don't you see that this is just going to lead to the versions getting released until World of Warcraft Classic is regular World of Warcraft, and then you're going to have double Classic? Yeah. So here's what's happening. I figured it out because I had to read. World of Warcraft right now, if you pay, I believe this is right. I believe if you still have to pay a monthly fee to play World of Warcraft, $15 a month. And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure you maybe have to buy the game one time, but if you pay the $15 a month, you get World of Warcraft Classic for freebies. You don't have to pay for it, and you get World of Warcraft Classic : Burning Crusade for freebies. You don't have to pay for it. But when that happens, all of the World of Warcraft Classic servers are going to be upgraded to be World of Warcraft Classic : Burning Crusade servers. However, you can choose to opt out of that upgrade, and anybody who chooses to opt out will have their character remain on a new World of Warcraft Classic vanilla server, whilst the rest of the player base moves to World of Warcraft Classic : Burning Crusade servers. But if you would like to engage with all of these, you can literally have a copy of your character on the new vanilla World of Warcraft Classic servers, as well as your existing character migrated to World of Warcraft Classic : Burning Crusade servers. Now, did you guys get all that? And now do you understand why I'm mad that I had to read that? I don't even like World of Warcraft, motherfuckers. Like,
that's really dumb.
Yeah. I just don't understand this because it's like the whole point was not to have it be upgraded, and now you started upgrading the unupgraded thing, and then eventually it's just going to catch up to the upgrade, and like
it's a vicious cycle.
Taking the crazy.
Like one day it's going to be like WoW Classic, but it's just current WoW.
Yeah. Goddamn. Should we finish BlizzCon real fast? All we have left is Overwatch. Should we do that? And then we can start off next one with
which I love the memes for Overwatch 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's a picture of just Overwatch 1, and then Overwatch 2 is just the same fucking picture.
Oh, I can see that. I actually watched a whole fucking 40 minutes of these yahoos talking about this. So they're doing a lot of stuff, but a lot of it is it's very what's the best way to put this? Like they spent 10 minutes or 5 minutes talking about how they've changed so when you shoot your gun, the screen shakes now to try to they've gone back to try to give all of the weapons a more visceral punch when you shoot them. They've redone certain animations to try to make things better. They were talking about how they recorded a bunch of new weapon sounds so that if you're shooting in a hall, it sounds different than if you're shooting outside. Lots of little stuff like this, what they're doing to add little kind of quality of life improvements. They were talking about how you know how Reinhardt when you charge, it just all goes in one direction, right? You're just kind of out of control. Apparently they put a little bit more steering in Reinhardt now so that he can steer, and apparently he can charge twice. They wanted to try to make some of the tanks have a little bit more offense so that when you were playing as a tank role, you weren't just kind of trapped in a defensive role. They talked a little bit about all these different new maps that they want to put in. The big thing for me was the PvE, which appears to just be I don't know why I expect anything different, but The PvE appears to just be like those missions from the anniversary update where you have to fight the bots, right?
Oh, okay.
But they're apparently going to be like all those are going to have like cutscenes. There's going to be an overarching storyline. There is a progression tree now for all the different characters. Kind of a World of Warcraft 3-tier progression tree, like I was talking about with Diablo. Like they showed one off where like Soldier 76's they called it the freight train, and it was like Soldier 76's heal is now a pulse that goes out from him that literally shoves enemies out of the way. So it just showed him like running out onto a bridge, and as the pulse went out, it just shoved a bunch of enemies off of a bridge. They also talked about like dynamic weather, like every map can now be day or night and have like weather effects and stuff. There's a lot going on. And then they talked about they want to make like hundreds of different hero missions, and then they really went into having like previs for story, like having full cutscene story that goes between these different missions to try to tell the story about like why the Omnics are back and all those guys and blah 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 blah. They showed some new updates for the way that the characters look. Looks fine. I haven't played Overwatch in a long time, but you know, there was a lot going on in here. The big thing here, though, Michael, the big takeaway seems to be this is going to be like really polishing Overwatch 1 to a mirror shine, more than like making a sea change in Overwatch in any way, shape, or form. Right.
Oh, okay.
It's like it'll look better. It'll sound better. There'll be more dynamic missions. The characters will be more interesting. You'll have a progression system. There'll be a story. There'll be like new music and like all this stuff. But it's not going to be, it's still going to be a first person shooter that you can play PvE or PvP in a number of different modes. And they're going to do some work on that. But like, it's not going to be Call of Duty. Basically, I guess that's kind of maybe the thing to take away is there's not going to be like a single player campaign that has like events. Well, that's the thing. They even talked about like scripted events where they're showing like a mission where they had like the side of a building that would fall down, but they were talking about like making sure that it triggered like once the player could see it, right? So that you didn't miss that this dramatic event was going to happen. So there are going to be like set pieces and things. It's just it's still going to be an offshoot of what Overwatch currently is. It is not going to be something different than that.
So it's closer to like an expansion feeling.
Yeah, from everything that they were talking about, I mean, I know that like people have really a lot of feelings about Overwatch. I don't have as many feelings about Overwatch. I just got bored and stopped playing it. But like from the things that they were talking about, it sounds like it like not just like an expansion, but like a mega expansion, right? The kind of expansion that you would pay for, like huge amounts of maps, like hundreds of single player missions, full stories, you know, cutscenes, weather, new remix characters, balancing, progression, like all that stuff is there. It's just I don't know, maybe it's a weird thing where Overwatch itself was already such a polished and put together game that like if you didn't actually change, like if you didn't say like, oh, Overwatch 2 is going to be an RTS, right? Or Overwatch 2 is going to be like a purely, it's going to have a purely single player campaign. Like what would you change about Overwatch 1 specifically? I don't know. Like, I think it looks good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it looks good. I just think that like people should probably be aware that it doesn't look like it's going to be dramatically changing it. So if you played Overwatch 1 and you weren't into it, then Overwatch 2 is probably not going to be the thing that changes, and then you're just like, oh no, I totally want to play it now. I'm kind of a sucker for the Overwatch-averse or whatever you want to call it. But
well, they did a great job at like building this thing, like this little universe with all the videos they came out with.
Yeah.
And I remember we talked about it all the time where it's like, I wish there was an actual story that I could follow in this. And the fact that they're doing that is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. This will probably get me, like they showed this one sequence. They've talked about, there's a lot going on here. There's a whole like 40-minute video that you can watch that has a lot of like good information that shows a lot of the kind of what the single player is planned to be. Because I don't think they need to show, right? What are they going to do? Show multiplayer? It's Overwatch. It's Overwatch multiplayer. Yeah. So you can go check that out. As for Michael and I, we're going to check out this break. That's a Linus Tech Tips transition right there, even though I know you don't watch that YouTube channel. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and then we're going to talk about a whole other conference because we had a state of play today that happened like hours before we started recording. So we'll see you in just a minute. We are back. And you know what? If those were the only two things that happened over the last 2 weeks, I don't know. Maybe we could have ripped through all these, done questions, but I feel like it's not going to be. We're not going to do questions this week.
We're not doing questions.
We're not doing questions this week.
It's already late.
So Sony had themselves a state of play. This one was only 30 minutes long, and it didn't have like a whole shitload in it, but we'll see what we can see. So it started out with didn't we already know that Crash Bandicoot 4 was going to be on the PS5, was going to have all these enhancements? Didn't we already know that was going to be a thing?
We talked about it, but I don't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or not.
Okay. Well, I know that, this wasn't a secret, right? This had already been announced.
This was announced, I want to say a week or two ago.
Yeah. Anyway, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is going to be on the PS5. It's going to have native 4K 60 3D audio. You're going to be able to use the cards to get your 106% completion. Michael,
super difficult, by the way. It's super difficult.
You could bring your PS4 game over to the PlayStation 5. It seems weird that they have to specify that. Like, it just seems like, well, of course you should be able to bring your PS4 game or your PS5. Like, what? The game came out last year. What are you talking about? What are we living in the dark ages?
For newer games, it's like, yeah, you should be able to do that, 100%.
Yeah. So, outside of that, I don't know. Is there anything else to say? That kind of seems like the entirety of what there was there.
Not really. It's just it's just Crash Bandicoot 4 on PS5.
Yeah.
Not much else out of there.
We got Returnal was the next big thing up, and it basically just kind of went over what is Returnal.
Yeah.
And actually it was interesting to me because I feel like this video probably doesn't even exist anymore. It feels like there was it's a roguelike, right? Like they said, every time that you restart, it's going to change the world up, which I don't know that I really expected. I don't know that I knew that it was a roguelike because I was getting all that super Soulsy DNA from it. And so, one of the big kind of things with Souls is learning the level through repetition, and if they're changing the level, then you can't learn the level through repetition. So I feel like initially I thought this was more Soulsy than it probably is going to end up being. It looks more just like a really fast-paced third-person action game roguelike.
It reminds me more of the idea of the way Hades is now, which is just you die, you come back, but it's not the same, but the enemies could be.
Yeah, like a roguelike. I'm still interested in it.
But with more story in it, which is why it reminds me more of Hades.
Yeah, I could see that. Where there's definitely the kind of death and rebirth mechanic built into the story, at a more fundamental level than just I don't know, it's an endless tower. Go up it, I guess, until you beat it. I like it. One of the interesting things I saw some folks in the Discord talking about, though, and I'd be interested to know what you think about this, Michael, is that this game is available for pre-order. It is in line with Sony's whole thing, $70. Would you pay $70 for Returnal, do you think?
The issue right now is that with $70, it's now come to the fact that now I have to feel like I have to wait to see how it plays out now. Because with $60 was a lot. For some reason, $60 was easy for me to be like, well, I can just pre-order that and then be done with it. But with that extra $10 and the fact that I'm very soon going to live on my own, it's now going to be one of those things where it's well, now I have to really think about what I'm getting again.
Yeah, you have to really budget your disposable income to be plus.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here, man. $70, right? Like, if it's $70 and you and I play it on Rage Select, and then like it seems like something that you might be interested in, you know that 8 months down the line it's going to be $30 on a flash sale, and you can just get it then, or a PlayStation Plus game some month, and you just pick it up there. I don't know. I think it looks really good. Like it just looks really unique to me. It looks more, I don't know, kind of slightly more realistic. It's weird to me because there's so much, I feel like there's some shmup DNA in it. Like when you see some of these big monster attacks that are just like a lot of projectiles, almost like Nier.
Even the weapons too. Yeah, like there's one weapon she fires that feels like it came straight out of a fucking Metal Slug.
Yeah. And it almost seems like it's a little bit strangely in contrast with this like very dark, very realistic looking like world, and the way that the characters and monsters look, that the actual just projectiles from the guns look kind of cartoony almost in comparison. But
that's what I'm surprised by it, like because she's super realistic looking, and then there's these really like fantastical things going on around her, and I think that's what makes me so interested in it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely, I don't know. It's just, I need to stop. I need to stop doing these podcasts like I'm not going to buy every single game that comes out to make hashtag content for the internet on it. Yeah. But I am kind of excited for this because I've liked all of Housemarque's games so far. So I like that they're getting more ambitious, and it looks genuinely unique, which is something that is very, very important to me. Like I'm all about that new like new gameplay thing that I haven't seen before thing. So let's see. From there, we got more information about what the fuck was that dodgeball game called that I already forgot? Knockout City. This is the one that showed us more about like what this game is. It's dodgeball.
Yeah, this trailer was actually like, hey, this is what this game is, by the way. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. I feel like we already kind of talked about it to the point of, I don't know, it's like there's a certain class of game that isn't really in my wheelhouse anymore, and it's this kind of like frenetic multiplayer cartoon type of game where it doesn't look like a bad version of the game that it is. It's just not really something that I'm super, super interested in. I don't know. That's kind of where I am on this one, but
if it's like a fairly cheap game, like I can see this game being kind of popular, but the issue is that like it all depends on price, I think, and whether or not kids will get into it, because it's not the kind of game that I feel like adults will really get into.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess they missed with Destruction All Stars, but maybe they'll hit with Back Alley Brawl, or maybe they didn't. Maybe Destruction All Stars is super popular, and I don't know. Michael, I
heard it did decently.
I played on the Sunday right before all the power went out. I played Valheim for an hour, and I didn't get it. I was like, this is boring, and I hate it. Like, it's just wandering around, like hitting rocks with rocks, and don't even know how to make a sword. So, that'll just go to show you. Like, I don't even want to put the replay up for it because I know the internet's going to give me a lot of shit for being like wandering around for an hour, not doing anything, and being like, this game is stupid. I'm going to play Monster Prom. And then I played Monster Prom, and I had a great time. So, let's see. From there, this was something new that we hadn't seen before.
Shifu?
Shifu? Yeah. SIFU. A lot of weird stuff going on here. So, seems to be a third-person action game. The first part is very reminiscent of the hall from Old Boy. Everybody was saying this looks like there's a bunch of tough guys
hallway
in this
fights.
Yeah, in this hallway. You got this kind of main character who's like a martial artist, and this kind of like, you know what it kind of reminds me of? Remember? Okay, stay with me, ladies and gentlemen. Remember The Quiet Man? It kind of reminds me of like if The Quiet Man wasn't terrible, like if The Quiet Man and Absolver had a baby, it would be this
I could see that
game.
Actually. I'm actually really interested in this thing a lot, actually.
Well, it seems like a next gen. It seems like a kind of a take on a brawler, right? And you're real big into brawler style games. I am curious though to know what the hell is going on where it seems like the guy gets knocked out and then ages, and over the course of this trailer he goes from being like a very young man to like a old gray hair kung fu master looking guy.
I think the idea is that like the more you fight and the more you die, I guess it's just him growing as a fighter, and so it's just him aging until like I guess if you get to the point where he's like a full on like master of this sort of thing. But that's the only thing that I can think of based on how it looks so far.
Yeah, it looks good though. Wait, hold on. Who is the developer on this? Is called Slow Clap. Do you know if they've made anything in the past?
No, I can't think of anything.
Let's see if I can figure this out. Independent studio. Let's see. Games. What you guys make? Oh, they made Absolver.
So
okay. Okay. All right.
That explains a lot.
Hey, you know what? I'm like 50% more excited now than I was before.
Yeah, I'm a little more excited now, but because they really know what they're doing already with the way the fighting is.
Yeah, Absolver was great. I really enjoyed Absolver. So, that makes a lot of sense with like the art style, the kind of blocky, semi-blocky art style that they've got going on is very similar to Absolver. So, I don't know. Yeah, this is an interesting one. From there, we got Solar Ash, which is the next game from the folks who made Hyperlight Drifter. That's like this kind of third person. You've got this main character who's gone into a black hole, and it seems like it's very movement focused, like this very kind of skating
very
on
speed runny kind of thing.
Yeah, like kind of skating along the clouds, like traversal. But then like with some light combat elements into it. I don't know. This one, for some reason, Michael, it's not entirely hitting for me. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that maybe all the traversal reminds me of Sonic, and I hate Sonic so much that it's just making me less excited about this game. But it seems
I get it, actually. I was thinking the same thing, but whether or not I was excited, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I guess Hyperlight Drifter, I was like super into the idea of Hyperlight Drifter, but then I didn't really, it didn't really click with me. I kind of just like eventually stopped, eventually just kind of stopped playing it. So, yeah, I don't know. This one is maybe, I'm going to call this one a maybe. This one's a maybe.
I like the idea of it though, like the whole like getting the flow in. As to really like keep going. I really like that concept, but I like I said, I'm not too sure either way until I get my hands on it.
It also has a Shadow of the Colossus style thing where you've got these kind of like gigantic creatures that you're going to be jumping onto and kind of like fighting a little bit at a time, which is kind of an interesting concept. I don't know. It reminds me of like 8 different games. It reminds me of Hyperlight Drifter. It reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus. It reminds me of that. What was that game that we played with the man and the woman that were on the alien planet that was all like where they were boning?
The horny game?
Yeah, the super horny one. It kind of reminds me of that too, with the skating element to it.
Yeah, I could see that. I already forgot the name of that game.
Yeah, me too. It's not a good sign. Yeah,
the horny game. That's all I'll know it is.
That super horny game. You guys know which one I'm talking about. Not quite as horny is. Okay. This is really weird to me.
It is.
So, I you know this, right? That like as of the like after like once Five Nights at Freddy's went to VR, like Scott Cawthon wasn't making the games anymore. That like there was another studio that was making them. I'm pretty sure
basically like licensed or sold them. I don't really know what he did with them.
Yeah, and this has been something that I've known was on the horizon for a while because of fucking Matt Pat and Game Theory, because all I ever do is watch his Five Nights at Freddy's videos. But this is like it's like an 80s mall with the animatronics in it, but it appears to be like a first person like stealth escape game. Like you're moving around, like you're not just pushing buttons to close like a door or a hallway. There's like a story with NPCs, other characters, and like they show parts where the character's like moving around different areas and hiding and doing stuff. And like that's really interesting to me because one of the things I don't like about FNAF is that you're so locked into the one position, right? It doesn't feel very dynamic to me.
It's the first time I've ever been interested in a Five Nights at Freddy's, at least since the first one. Because the first one at the time felt unique because of the way it was. But but yeah, eventually it was just like, well, you're stuck in this one position and you're just basically waiting to die, kind of thing. And like I was more interested in the story as it progressed more than its gameplay. And this I'm more interested in its gameplay than I am its story. But I'm still interested in the story a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like an interesting. It seems like something different. I think that might be the thing about FNAF that was starting to turn me off a lot, was that it was just like, which chair am I going to be sitting in this time? Like, which chair full of buttons am I going to be sitting in this time?
What stupid power thing do they have here for some reason, kind of thing?
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, every game was just like, what corner did they cut to force me to, like, have to do something stupid? Kind of thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm actually way more interested in this because it seems like you've got more agency, and I like the idea of, like, I think Scott Cawthorn got a lot of mileage out of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm super happy about that. The guy seems like he's creative in terms of, like, concept and writing and stuff that's going on. I think that it's a kind of a good move to pass off the programming to somebody else, because I also kind of like the fact that all of the animatronics seem like shiny and new, right? None of them are like the corroded, broken down versions that we see in every other freaking game outside of.
Well, I like their designs too, because the second one had like these nicer looking ones, but they also looked really dumb in my opinion. Whereas these, I think they look really kind of cool actually, like the way the aesthetic for their design is almost like they're almost buff like for some of them, kind of thing. Like I'm fascinated by the way this one is designed.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I'm super excited. From there, we got the game. Apparently, when I was watching this on the Discord server with some folks, they were one of them was watching it on YouTube and was like watching the chat replay, was watching the live chat. And when they started talking about Abe's or Soulstorm, Oddworld Soulstorm, everybody was like, boring, shitty, turn it off, hate it, fuck this. And I was like, no, I want to play this game so bad.
They're all youngins. They don't remember it.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's some interesting stuff going on here where like Abe can now like loot people and create weapons. And there was a part in this trailer that I really loved where Abe came out of a locker in a line of lockers, and then like all the other Modokans that he was hanging out with came out of the lockers as well. There was
I laughed out loud when that happened.
There were so many of them. It was so great. But yeah, I mean, like I'm just super excited because like Lorne Lanning has been waiting for years to make this game, and I want him to make it.
This was supposed to be basically the original part 2.
Yeah. And I never got into like the Munch's Odyssey or the Stranger Soulstorm. Or no, Soulstorm was that's this one. That's this one.
Yeah.
But like
Stranger's Wrath, I think was the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, Stranger's Wrath. I never got into that because it just, I don't know. I didn't like the move to 3D. I really like this style, you know, when they had like, remember Flashback, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of a similar like side-scrolling, very just like figure out this puzzle type of game, and I loved those games. And they just kind of stopped making them, and then everything went 3D because it was time for everybody to go 3D. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what happens with this one. It also looks very pretty. Like they've done a lot of nice work on the shadows and the character models and stuff.
Job with the designs of everything. Like it still has. It feels just like it feels like my memories of the first game.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
So I can't wait for this. This is one that's like super high up on my list. We saw Kina, Bridge of Spirits. For anybody who doesn't remember, that's the one with the little like weird. It looks like a cross between like Zelda and Pikmin, made by like Pixar. Where you've got the young lady, and then she's got all these little like monsters that she can use to fight and stuff. This game looks gorgeous. Like gorgeous
Absolutely.
Game, gorgeous voice acting. Like it all just looks super fun. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to say outside of that. Like it just looks so fun.
It's probably one of the most interested I'm in one of the other PS5 games, like Returnal. I think it Returnal, and Deathloop, I think, are the 3 biggest ones that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I also like the fact that in this trailer we saw some combat. We saw some kind of like third-person combat with the main character. using the little weirdo imps and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. This just so charming, so good looking. Just overall, one of those things where I feel like sometimes you can see a video game where you're just excited because of like the package, like you're just excited by the way that it looks and the way that it sounds. So, also we found out it's coming out August 24th, so a little bit later this year. From there, we got Deathloop. I don't know why I have to keep talking about Deathloop. I'm going to buy Deathloop. I'm like almost to the point where I'm so excited for Deathloop that I might buy it a second time just because I'm so excited for Deathloop. We got this crazy James Bond Deathloop theme in this trailer. Everything about this game I'm excited about. I'm so excited about every part of this video game. I don't know, Michael.
I'm really happy with what they showed off too, because it shows a lot more gameplay, I feel, outright, and just a lot of atmosphere stuff. It's just really cool.
Yep. I like Arcane a lot. I like the concept a lot. I like the 70s super spy kind of aesthetic a lot. I like the color palette. I like the weird idea of the time loop and the multiplayer, and yeah, it just all looks like, I don't know, it looks like Dishonored and like No One Lives Forever had like a real weird baby, and I like that baby. I want to babysit that baby.
I'm just super excited about it.
Yep. And last but not least, I am not super excited. I mean, okay, so all right. Listen, I feel like before this started, I had seen a rumor that they were going to announce that Final Fantasy VII was going to be put on the PlayStation 5 with updated graphics. Just color me shocked and amazed. Oh no, who could have ever seen that coming? I mean, everybody could have seen that coming, right? But that wasn't it. That wasn't it. Like, also, Yuffie's here. Yuffie and her friend are here. So, all right.
Everyone's favorite kleptomaniac.
There are two parts to this. Part one is that if you own Final Fantasy VII and you have a PlayStation 5, you're going to get a free upgrade to a version that has better lighting, better textures, better fog effects, like just a better graphical upgrade to make everything look better. Part two, which is the part that confuses me, is that there's going to be a paid expansion for part one of Final Fantasy VII that adds a chapter where you control Yuffie and her buddy as they're infiltrating Midgar, I guess, during some of the other things that are happening. Why are they spending time making expansions for part one instead of finishing the fucking story? Like, it doesn't make any, I mean, I know it's Square, right? They got different artists doing different things, but like, it's just so weird to me that we know it's not like, oh man, Final Fantasy VII, that was interesting. I wonder if they'll ever make a Final Fantasy VII Part 2. Like, we know they're going to be making at least one, if not two, if not a bunch more of these. So the idea of making an expansion for an incomplete game is really weird to me. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And like I looked it up, and like the version with this is going to be like $80 it's going to be $70 on the PS4. So I don't know if that means that this expansion is going to be $10 if you just do it all on its own, if you already own the full game. But it's just mind-bogglingly strange to me. Like, I don't know. Michael, what do you got? You like Final Fantasy VII. What are you say good things. You say the good things. You say the good things.
Well, the thing that I kind of like about it is that it's the fact that it does take place during the main plot, is the fact that it lets you view other conversations that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Yeah.
Like there's a part in the trailer where it shows Barrett and Tifa talking to the rest of Avalanche after, the second reactor had happened. And they're like, yeah, we just fucking lost Cloud. They're like, kind of thing. And I'm like, well, that's kind of neat. Like being able to see those conversations happen. But I was never the biggest fan of Yuffie to begin with.
Yeah.
It's because, she's a fucking klepto. It's like she just consistently like steals whatever the fuck she wants. And so it's plus like the way, you know, the game ends, it's like, well, you know, I feel like this is kind of weird to try to explore if with what happens at the end of the game. I don't know. Like I'll probably end up playing it because you know I did like enough of Final Fantasy VII to go through it, and you know, playing more of it, I don't see that much of an issue with it.
Oh, I also read another thing where they said that if you play it in the turn-based mode now, you don't have to play on easy. They fucking fixed that finally. So you can...
Oh yeah, they that was one of the things they announced in it because I remember it showing up. It's like normal classic is what it says as the mode.
I mean, like, I don't know. I was thinking about it a lot, and at this point in time, my thought, if they're going to be doing add-ons to expand the story, right? Why don't I just wait until all of the games and all of the expansions are out and there's the Final Fantasy VII, like, you know, Royale Edition, right? Why would I want to play this piecemeal if they're going to be adding stuff? Because I don't know. It's very strange to me. You know what? I wasn't even gonna. This isn't even on the list. Michael doesn't even know about this because Square had a big thing right after Sony's thing where they announced 2 more Final Fantasy things.
Yeah, I saw some tweets about it, and I was like, "What is this about?"
One is called Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier, and it is literally a Final Fantasy Battle Royale game that takes place before Final Fantasy VII, where you play as you're trying to be the first soldier candidate in the Shinra Soldier program. And
that's what that was about.
Battle Royale game. And then the other one is, God, what the hell is it called? It's a mobile game, and it's really, really, really weird in that it's Ever Crisis. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. So here's the thing. This is a very strange one because it is a phone game. I got to see if I can pull up some videos so you can see this. Ever Crisis. There we go. Okay, so it apparently is doing this thing where, like, there's parts of the game that are like, I think the Final Fantasy VII remake, but the style they're in is like the old kind of chibi Final Fantasy VII characters from like the PlayStation game where they were like short,
kind of neat.
But they look really cool, right? Like they look nifty. And I'm like, oh, you know what? If they made a full phone game that was like this, that was just Final Fantasy VII, the original Final Fantasy VII remake, then like I would be into that. Like that's what I kind of wanted out of a Final Fantasy VII remake, to be honest, was something that hewed a little closer to the original. But then they show the battles. And the thing is that the battles are like the Final Fantasy VII remake battles. They're like everybody's... And they have all of these buttons down here. They've got like the ATB bar that's filling up. I mean, I don't know. Like they've got 3 people, so I'm not sure if it's a modified version of like the party system. If this is like, if you made Final Fantasy VII now, the overworld would be this kind of like really enhanced chibi characters, and then the battle system would be this like very targeted, super high resolution, regular looking characters. So I really kind of want to know more about this because I haven't even told you the part that's going to blow your fucking mind, man. This is going to be an episodic thing that starts in 2022 that's going to be on iOS and Android that is going to cover Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Final Fantasy VII Before Crisis, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, and Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. Like,
holy shit.
Like, if that's good, that could be incredible. That would be the Final Fantasy VII remake that I was into, right? If it's
amazing,
like a weird turn-based system, and then the kind of top-down stuff is very chibi, right? And then you just or SD or whatever we're calling that style these days, like. But the idea that you could start at Crisis Core and play all the way to Dirge of Cerberus in one continuous game, that excites me. That's really exciting
really
to me.
Cool.
Yeah. And if it was divided up into like segmented chunks so that you were, just playing a little bit at a time and you're like, oh, cool. They're putting out, they're going to start up Before Crisis this month. And you go like, ah, cool. So I actually really like that. Out of all the other stuff that I talked about, I like this concept. I just want to see a little bit more about the mechanics of it. if it's not already clear, I don't care about battle royale games. I've tried my damnedest, but like, nope. I just don't care. And Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 5 is weird to me. I don't know. At this point, I'm just I'll buy them as they come out.
That one makes sense though, because I think it's because if the others come out on PS5, they want them all to be on like one console. So
it's just more the Yuffie DLC that's very confusing to me. Like the expansion,
it's just strange
to an incomplete thing. So, and that was Sony. What'd you think about Sony? Do you like Sony more than Nintendo?
I don't know if I liked it more. But it was nice like seeing more gameplay of some games that I was already really excited about. I was expecting maybe a new announcement besides Sifu, but I thought it was fine.
I feel like when I watched Sifu, I was like, huh. And then after finding out it's from the Absolver guys, I'm like, oh shit, I can't wait. Give it to me. All right.
I don't like that now too, actually.
All right, we have 30 minutes. You want to see if we can do everything else? See if we can do everything else on this list?
Let's see if we get through it.
All right, let's see what we can do. Let's see. Days Gone is coming to the PC. So we got confirmation that looks like Sony is going to be putting more of the PS4 games on the PC, and Days Gone appears to be the next one. I think this is really interesting in that, like, okay, so what? It's Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone. What are the big ones? God of War will probably not be coming to the PC. I wonder if Bloodborne could ever wrench its way out of Sony's hands to the PC.
That's a possibility. The thing is, we're not really sure what they're willing to let go of to be on the PC. Like Days Gone is one of those ones that I'm like, I don't really care, but I'm sure somebody does. Like there are people that like Days Gone, so
I feel like is it just me, or do you get the feeling that like the PC Steam audience would really like Days Gone? Like everybody that I know that likes Days Gone seems like they would really love it if they could play it on the PC, frame unlocked on like some kind of crazy thing. I don't know.
I could see that. There's dozens of them.
Yeah, I never got it, but apparently the people that liked
I never did either.
Really liked it. So let's see. In other Sony news, we got the just really basic news that Sony is currently working on a PSVR solution specifically for the PS5. The highlights here, sharper resolution, wider field of view, new tracking, a single cord for the headset, and then I think they're also going to be trying to make some new controllers for it.
Yes.
Not much more outside of that. I don't know, Michael. See, I finally bought a commercial VR headset with my PS VR, and I never use it. I never, like every so often I'll bust it out for Beat Saber, but other than that, like I just do not use it very often. So
it still just comes down to like make more games for it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Also, Sony is apparently gutting the Sony Japan studio. This is the studio that gave us like Knack, Gravity Rush, Ape Escape, a variety of different like first party things. I think that they're keeping on the team that made the Astrobot Playroom. Rescue Mission wasn't that the VR one?
Well, I think that was the first one they did, and then the second one was the PS5 one.
It was Astro's Playroom was the PS5 one.
Okay.
So yeah, they're rolling that team into its own studio called Asobi, and some of the other people are moving on to that studio. Some folks are leaving. Like there was this one person who was big in like doing the liaising between Sony and From Software to get Bloodborne and the Demon Souls remake done, who I believe is leaving. It'll be interesting to see what the effect this has, but this is just part of something I don't feel like we really talk about that much because it's not as much in the news, which is Sony has been for years kind of shifting their kind of like main focus to the United States as opposed to Japan. It used to be very Japanese company, 100%. And they've been moving like their headquarters and kind of overall development to the United States. So it makes a certain amount of sense.
It's a shame though, because there's some great stuff that those guys made that just didn't didn't get the audiences that I think it deserved.
Michael, I will not hear somebody on the Rage Select podcast say a nice word about Knack. You are fired. Get out. We're not friends anymore.
I was talking about Gravity Rush specifically, but sure.
Okay. All right. The Gravity Rush. That was good. Speaking of damn shames, we finally learned the fate of Anthem, and it is canceled.
It's a shame, but also not surprising in the least.
I'm legitimately upset by this news. Like, I liked Anthem.
You were rooting for Anthem. You really were.
I really wanted Anthem to be a good game. In fact, I even enjoyed part of my time with it. Like, I thought it got a little repetitive, but like the core flying around and shooting stuff, I really liked that part. And like, I feel like it could have been a good game. Those fucking motherfuckers at EA just, God, they suck so much. Or wait, is this BioWare? BioWare.
Yeah,
BioWare. But they're owned by EA though, right?
Yeah, they're owned by EA nowadays.
Okay. All right. Jeez. I could read you any of this horse shit. But basically, like, I want everybody to remember this moment. I want you to remember this moment when you get excited about anything that BioWare does, because this is the second game in a row that they fucked up and then decided not to fix. They fucked up Andromeda and they just decided not to fix it. They fucked up Anthem and they spent 3 years dangling the idea that Anthem, or 2 years at the idea that Anthem could be fixed. And I think that Anthem could have been fixed. And then they were just like, nah, we're going to focus on Dragon Age 4. It's like, great. Good to see that you're fucking terrible at making video games. God, I hate BioWare now. I hate them so much. Like,
I remember when BioWare was like everybody's favorite guy, and then
Yep. Boo. Boo is what I say to that. This is less boo, but I don't really care that much about Dragon Age. But Dragon Age 4 apparently was going to have a really major multiplayer component. It was originally going to be focused on this kind of like multiplayer mixed with single player, like Anthem, right? Like, kind of like Anthem, how that was like a single player and then you went into multiplayer. But apparently they've decided to take the multiplayer component out and just focus on it as a single player video game, which is great news for people that are excited about Dragon Age, because
I think it's a good move, to be honest.
Yeah, every time they try to shoehorn a bunch of bullshit multiplayer into what should honestly be a single player game, it sucks. You remember Dragon Age Inquisition had a multiplayer mode?
Did it really?
Uh-huh. Yep. These weird like classes and cards, and you could go out and play it, and it wasn't, I don't believe it was integral to the story, but I'm pretty sure I remember there being one in there. I mean,
I never played any of the Dragon Age games,
I don't know. This is obviously good news for people who are interested in Dragon Age, because, I guess the real question is, has the game industry learned their lesson about live service multiplayer games the way that they learned their lesson about MOBAs, the way they learned their lesson about MMOs, they learned their lesson about fucking multiplayer passes?
Not yet. That's the thing. They're going to very soon, but they haven't yet. Because I remember hearing there was that thing where WB said they're going to try to do more of those. So yeah,
but I feel like WB is like Bethesda, and that they're the last person to figure it out, and so they always come in with, they've got their fucking live service Batman game that they're trying to put out, and it's like, guys, it's over. Avengers couldn't do it, okay? Like, Avengers couldn't do it.
They came out with a new Iron Man skin, and it was like the stupidest looking Iron Man from the Ultimate Universe, and they're like, why this one specifically?
Yeah. In other EA news, we also got, this is actually a very good story, that apparently EA is going to start letting the holders of franchises and development studios decide what to do with their properties. I think that this is actually really interesting, because I feel like this comes out of a half a decade worth of like upper management meddling, trying to make games do things and learning like that doesn't work, and all you do is ruin the game, and then it doesn't make any money. Meanwhile, if you leave fucking Respawn alone, they'll come out with Apex Legends, out of nowhere in the middle of a February, and then it makes you like $6 million in that year. Just, yeah. So, but yeah, this is actually pretty good. Like, I like the idea of video game developers not having to like do things because there's some fucking bigwig that's just like, no, that's what all the kids are into. Put a bunch of skins in it. And they're like, it doesn't make any sense to have skins in it. No, put the skins in anyway. We'll make it a pre-order bonus. And yeah.
We'll see how long this lasts, though, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll probably last right up until the point when the next new thing, somebody figures out the next thing, and then everybody jumps on that bandwagon until they burn it to the ground. They skin that sheep so fucking hard that we're all just like, I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore.
No, exactly.
We figured out a way for games to give you an orgasm every time you kill an enemy, and then suddenly we're all just tired of that. We're just like, I'm bored of orgasms. What else do you have? Maybe hire some writers, EA. Speaking of horrible, stupid shit that developers do, this is a really silly thing that happened last week. So, Google Stadia, ladies and gentlemen, is a product which is being mismanaged into oblivion. There's actually a whole lawsuit that I didn't bring up that's like a bunch of people that is suing Stadia for being like, it says it's supposed to be 4K and it's not 4K. You can't sell it saying it's going to be 4K and it's not 4K. Anyway, Google literally owned the IP for Journey to the Savage Planet, which was a fun game. I like that game.
Yeah.
The Google Stadia version of of Journey to the Savage Planet has apparently had a whole bunch of bugs in it that were causing problems and people couldn't play. There was a crashing, there was slowdown, there was all kinds of bullshit happening. So somebody sent a message to the developer, Typhon Studios, or no, they sent a message to 505, which was the publisher, asking them, hey, can you fix this? This is bullshit. I bought this game and it's not very good. Or I think it comes free if you have that Stadia Plus thing.
Yeah, I think it's a free thing with Stadia.
Now, you might remember that a few weeks back, Google Stadia divested themselves of all of their developers that were working on Stadia games. So Typhon no longer works with Google, does not have access to the game because it is owned by Google, and cannot fix anything. And because the game is running on Google servers, no one can fix it except for Google. And the person that sent in their message got back kind of this message saying, I really love this. It's like kind of the most like corporately passive aggressive thing I've ever seen from 505. Thank you for your reply. Please note the publisher for Journey to the Savage Planet on Stadia is in fact Stadia Games Entertainment. And unfortunately, we have no way of assisting with this kind of issue from our end. We suggest reaching out to Stadia support again and informing them that the publisher for this Stadia version of Journey to the Savage Planet is actually them. So they did. And an update, this actually managed to get slightly fixed. But like, Michael, I feel like we're seeing the beginning of the whole like Google abandons Stadia and lets it slowly die.
I could have told you that from day one.
No, I know, but I feel like we're seeing the actual codified thing that you see with Google when they start to lose interest in something that they thought was going to work, but they don't want to put enough money in it to make it work, and so it's just slowly going to die now. Slowly. It's
going to go the way of the OnLive.
Yep. Let's see. In other silly, horrible news, Fry's Electronics shut down. This has
again,
something
shocked. Shocked, I say.
Well, I think it's funny where you and I were talking months ago about how I think it was like pre-pandemic, right? Like
it was like at the beginning of it. Yeah, it was like January of 2020, I think we were talking about it.
Where I went to the Fry's, because I have a Fry's Electronics right by my house. For anybody who doesn't know, Fry's Electronics is an independently held electronics store. They're basically like a Best Buy.
Yeah.
They used to be, in their heyday, they did a really good job price matching, so you could actually build like a PC pretty cheaply. They also tended to sell a lot more than just like games and computer hardware. They would have a lot of like toys and kind of fun stuff. They also had washers and dryers and the whole CD department, all kinds of stuff. Last time I went into a Fry's, it was like half empty, and there were like 8 people working there, and like all the appliances were gone. There were like 8 video games. Like most of the departments were unmanned. It was really weird. It was the strangest thing ever. I'm just like, what is this place open? Should I be in here? I need to leave.
That was the thing. Yeah, the first time, I don't remember. I was working. Yeah, this was before the pandemic happened. I was working, and somebody was just like, "Yeah, have you been to Fry's lately?" I'm like, "Well, what's going on with Fry's?" It's like it is barren, absolutely fucking barren.
Yep.
And so I went to go see what he was talking about, and yeah, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. I ended up buying Quantum Break because it came with a free copy of Alan Wake.
Oh, okay.
DLC and everything.
All right.
It was the only reason I did that, but it was like one of like 3 games essentially in the area. And this was like even before you went. Before like
yeah,
it was like I can't even imagine how barren it is now. Even before they decided to shut the damn thing down.
I mean, the thing is that Fry's never got with the times, right? Like their website was garbage, so ordering stuff online was shitty. They didn't keep in stock of video games. Like they never made a priority to like get a game the day it came out, put it out on the shelves. Which was a big problem because they were like the closest thing to my house when it came to a game store. But it was like you would go over there and be like, "Hey, man, I want a copy of Control," and they'd be like, "We don't have it." They'd be like, "Well, it came out today." Like, what do you mean you don't have it? Like, it came out today. You're a store that sells video games. Give me the video game that came out today, and they'd just be like, "I don't know what to tell you, man." So over the years, I feel like they did they lost their edge. They were in that weird place where like, if you could be something that was between like a Best Buy and like buying stuff from not ThinkGeek, what was that online computer store that everybody used to use that was like mostly hardware focused, not Tom's Hardware, Newegg, yeah. Like if you wanted to go look at something specifically, but you wanted to get it cheaper than Best Buy but not quite as cheap, you wanted it today, you could go to Fry's. But as they started to lose their profits, they never pivoted, and so they just ended up like slowly dying, and now they're dead
very slowly. I remember they used the first time I ever visited the Fry's that's there, they used to have a lot of cool shit. Like they used to have like anime DVDs and stuff you couldn't find at most places. Like it was really nice, and then the internet made it easier to buy cheaper computer parts and cheaper damn near everything that was there. Like it died a horrific death. It's like watching something that was poisoned just like be like, "No, I'm fine," and you're just like, "No, your eyes are all bloodshot, you're turning purple." You're like, "No, I'm fine."
I actually worked for Fry's for about 4 months. They had this whole thing where like they would tell you that if you worked there for 10 years and followed this like program that they had, that at the end of 10 years you would have $1 million. You would have a $1 million. Now, nobody would ever want to work for Fry's for 10 years because it's a horrible place to work. But the other thing that was interesting was they all had different themes. So
the one here was like a piano theme.
It was music. Yeah, it was supposed to be music for like live music, but they had like a Mayan themed one and kind of like an old movies themed one in Burbank. But yep, Fry's Electronics no longer a thing. I hope they put a Best Buy there so I have a place that I can go buy video games on the day they come out. Boo.
They're just going to bring back Circuit City.
Or
due for a comeback.
Babbage's. Bring back the Babbage's, man.
Bring back Suncoasts.
I tell you what we're bringing back, Michael. We're bringing back banned Grand Theft Auto. That's what we're bringing back. Jeez. Oh, boy. So, in Illinois, there is a representative, Marcus C. Evans Jr., who wants to basically... So, okay, currently in Illinois, they have a law that says that if you sell M-rated games to minors, you get a fine, right? You get a fine. You're not supposed to do that. Don't sell M-rated games to minors. Great. Okay. Well, this particular representative has put forth a bill that would basically make it illegal to sell violent video games to anyone in Illinois. Adult, child, it doesn't matter. And let's just read the... okay, so one of the things about violent video games is the violent video games in this bill have been described as a game that, quote, allows a player, a user or player to control a character within the video game that is encouraged to perpetuate human-on-human violence in which the player kills or otherwise causes serious physical or psychological harm to another human or an animal. So, given that Super Mario 3D World is a violent video game because you are encouraged to perpetuate violence to an animal by a human. When Mario jumps on a Koopa, you are playing a violent video game.
It gives every Koopa diplomatic immunity, including Bowser, by the way. He is just a giant turtle.
Doug Bowser? Is that what you're talking about? Yep.
Yes, exactly. It gives him diplomatic immunity. You can't attack him anymore.
You can't carjack Doug Bowser anymore. Checkmate, nerds.
It's just like I love the idea of like it actually like affecting the real Mario world though, like this law, and just Bowser like walking up and punching Mario in the face and be like, you can't do nothing. Then just running off.
Yep. Yes. So it's so weird though too, because now that I read that again, it doesn't make any sense. It says the game is they're encouraged to perpetuate human on human violence, right? So humans attacking humans, in which the player kills or otherwise causes serious physical or psychological harm to another human or an animal. So where does the animal fit in the human on human violence? Is that
I feel like he like figured he wanted to change his chain of thought in the middle of it and then forgot to edit it.
Yeah. It went like, is it like if a person is holding like a chicken, right? And you go to punch the person, but you accidentally hit the chicken, that still counts as human on any case, this is
maybe
stupid.
it's the idea of that game where like you can put, I think it was one of the Far Cry games, you could put a C4 on a chicken and then throw the chicken at a person and then it would explode.
In any case,
it's still dumb as hell. Not what I was saying, but this fucking like ban thing.
This guy, he basically like there's a lot of carjacking. This guy thinks the carjacking is because of Grand Theft Auto. Okay, that's fine. If you would like to raise the fine for selling Grand Theft Auto to a minor, that's cool and all. But like, I am an adult. I have a job. I have money. I want to buy violent video games. And if you try to stop me, I will go and live in the sewers like Dennis Leary in Demolition Man and become an outlaw that pops up and steals your Taco Bell and also your Grand Theft Autos. And then I'll rant a lot. I'll rant at John Spartan when he tries to arrest me. Yeah. All right. Quick like a bunny. Let's go through these. Oh my God. These are all so great. Okay, BlizzCon was going on. In the middle of BlizzCon, Metallica played a concert. While Metallica was playing their concert, they started playing For Whom the Bell Tolls. Twitch's automatic DMCA recognition system recognized that song and started playing a royalty-free garbage music track over the footage of Metallica because sometimes God loves us and has a sense of humor.
It's kind of amazing.
Eat that, you stupid assholes. You were the ones who started this horse shit because you couldn't buy enough solid gold Shark Tanks. Fuck you, Metallica. And also fuck you, Twitch. Twitch, get your shit together, Twitch. Like, that's stupid. If you can't, I mean, that's stupid. It's stupid. Let's see. Cyberpunk, speaking of stupid, Cyberpunk 2077 is getting their next patch delayed because of the big data breach that they had. Apparently, the fallout of the data breach was that no one was able for 2 weeks to get access to develop Cyberpunk 2077 because they weren't entirely sure how the breach had occurred. So basically, all remote workers were locked out of the internal network and unable to do any work. Well, they did a huge audit to try to figure out how they lost all their shit.
I have to say, a cyber attack is pretty goddamn cyberpunk.
It getting hacked and then getting your shit sold on the dark web, that's pretty cyberpunk. It's pretty cyberpunk. Yeah. I just feel, you know what? It's been I don't know, maybe if I'd done the podcast last week there wouldn't have been a Cyberpunk 2077 story, but every fucking week since this game came out there's something.
It's the new Fallout 76.
It really is. Let's see. Speaking of Fallout 76 might be getting better That's a transition. So Microsoft announced this thing last week where it's basically like if you have an Xbox Series X/Series S, there's this new feature that they're using called FPS Boost. And basically, for some previous gen games, you'll get a faster frame rate now than what they would be by default. So the first group that came out was Far Cry 4, New Super Lucky's Tale, Sniper Elite 4, UFC 4, and Watch Dogs 4. And like the ones that are running at 60 frames per second are now running at like 120 FPS. Some of them are getting scaled up. Or no, it's mostly just the FPS boost. Like it's just trying to boost anything from 30 to 60 and from 60 to 120 for compatible games. I actually tried this out with Watch Dogs. It was really interesting that it's now just running in 60 frames per second. It's like just getting a better computer, right? And installing your old games and then jacking up the settings. Bad news, though, this won't work for every game. Microsoft came out and talked about this on at a podcast with Major Nelson. And the reason for this is something that everybody should remember. Some games treat their frame rate as a timing mechanism to make game mechanics work. So if you speed up the frame rate, it breaks the timing. It'll like break the animations because the animations are animated to specifically work at like 30 frames per second. So if you make it 60 frames per second, they animate twice as fast and then it gets all fucked up. Souls games had this. When they originally modded some of the 30 frames per second Souls games, they found out that the weapon degradation in the game was based on the frame rate. And so if you applied an aftermarket patch to make it 60 FPS, your weapon degradation would happen twice as fast because it was literally tied to this other mechanic. So not every single previous gen game is going to be getting this. It just depends on the game and how it's programmed. So yeah. Also, if you're a game developer, keep that in mind. Speaking of frame rates, apparently on the PC, Days Gone, as we mentioned before, is going to have totally unlocked frame rates and support for ultra-wide monitors. And strangely, on the Steam page, is going to require an SSD, which is not something that a lot of PC games make a point of specifically saying. Yeah. Let's see. Faster. Destruction All-Stars is going off of PlayStation Plus. Originally, it was going to be a $70 game, but it's going to be $20. So if you missed your chance on PlayStation Plus, you don't have to shell out the cost of like a full AAA game to get access to that Destruction Derby game. Let's see. And then from there, we have some more trailers because we're not done yet. But we're going to go over these pretty fast. Did you get a chance to watch any of these, Michael?
Not all of them.
This Nier trailer was pretty good. I feel like we saw a Nier trailer 2 weeks ago when I did the podcast with Bryce, where everything looked a little funky, but this one was just focusing on a lot of like Nier weirdness, which I appreciate. Like the character models all look good, the monsters all look good. Some of the gameplay action looks good. The environments are still a little like weirdly open to me, like they just seem too big. But other than that, I'm excited to get a chance to take a look at this when it finally comes out. Let's see. We did have another Returnal trailer. Did you watch this one, by the way?
I saw that one, yeah.
That was a lot more like atmospheric. It was interesting how they put the super cinematic trailer out like the day before the state of play, and then they put the like super explain the gameplay mechanics trailer inside of the state of play. I feel like they should have flippy flopped those.
Very strange.
Yeah. But I think we kind of said everything we wanted to say about Returnal. This is a good trailer. I'm excited for Returnal. Let's see. From there, Mortal Shell is getting an enhanced edition with basically PS5. On the PS5, it's going to be getting a better frame rate, 4K, better textures, better lighting, all that stuff. Mortal Shell is a goddamn banger. So if you haven't played it and you got a PlayStation 5 and you're done with Demon Souls, maybe go play Mortal Shell. Maybe that's what you should do. Let's see. System Shock got a teaser trailer. This actually looks really good. Did you watch this one, by the way?
No, I did not.
Okay, so there's a new demo for it coming out, but like after, because you remember that Night Dive when they were going to remake System Shock, and then they got like really far off track and decided to just start over and just redo the first one. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here, and there's a brand new demo, and this should be coming out. I believe this is the one that's coming out in summer of this year. But yeah, I mean, if you got Steam, you should go check it out. Did you ever play OG System Shock, Michael?
No, I never did. I wanted to. It's one of those times where I didn't have ways of playing it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is coming to consoles eventually, because this is currently, I believe, PC only, but I don't know. Let's see. For you, I put in a trailer, the official Dan Hibiki gameplay trailer.
The best trailer.
Your thoughts on Dan Hibiki?
Streetest Fighter?
Okay.
Street Fighter or Streetest Fightist? Yeah, he's fucking awesome. I fucking love Dan. And they put so much work into his new moves and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I love I love this trailer a lot, because like in between each one, like he'll pop up and just be like Sakyo, and then like let's get to another thing. And I love Dan Hibiki, and I'm so glad that they put him in this one. And he just looks like so much goddamn fun.
It's very short range. It seems to be very short range.
Yeah, he has hella short range. Yeah, because Dan started off as a joke character because he's a make fun of a character from The Art of Fighting.
Yeah,
which was Ryo, because he could do he did like a Hadoken with one hand essentially. Mm-hmm. So like, what if we made a character like that but stupid? And so that's what Dan is. And then they kept going from there, and like he just became one of my favorite characters because of a friend of mine. And then I was like, I need to master Dan, and so I've mastered him in Street Fighter 4, and I'm going to try to do it in this game whenever I get a chance to buy him.
Let's see. Star Wars Republic Commando is coming to the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. We kind of heard this as a rumor, but it's been confirmed. I like Star Wars Republic Commando. It's a cool game. You should play it.
Oh, people love fucking Republic Commando. That was one of the games that when people were asked what would you make a sequel to Star Wars game wise, that came up all the time. All the time.
It's kind of a weird squad based tactics game that's actually pretty good. Let's see. And then we actually got like did you watch this trailer for It Takes Two? This big gameplay trailer?
Not this one.
Okay. This is that Joseph Ferris, the guy that made Brothers, and he talks in this. He actually narrates this trailer. I find this guy to be really entertaining. There was one point where he's just discussing it like you would have a normal developer, and there's one point where he's like, "Yeah, there's none of that repetitive shit in my game," because he's taken the kind of Brothers approach where there's going to be a bunch of different levels, and every level has its own game mechanics, and it's based on the two characters working together. So like there's this one where you're in a squirrel's nest and there's a hive of wasps, and one character has sap and the other character has a gun that shoots matches, and so one character has to cover the wasps in sap and the other person has to shoot them with the match to set them on fire. And there's all these different There's one where they each have, and they're based because it's a husband and wife that are having marriage problems, and their little girl makes these dolls, and they turn into the dolls, and this book is trying to get them back together. And so, like, there's one level at the end of this trailer where the guy is like, where they're talking about how, like, the guy's like, I'm not made of time, and then the woman's like, well, you always expect me to do everything. You think I could clone myself? And then the book is like, all right, got it. You control time and you can clone yourself. And so the next level is based on the fact that the lady character can make a duplicate and jump to that location, and the guy character can like move time backwards and forwards. And it seems really cool. Like, I really want to play this game.
Like, I'm fascinated by the whole idea of it, and the fact that it is that guy just loves co-op experiences. And, and this is he knows how to make really interesting use of it too.
Not just that, but like he's super good at. Like he doesn't want there to be like one mechanic that you use throughout the game. He wants to just keep putting in different mechanics, so that you're constantly doing new things as opposed to a similar thing. But he also said in an interview that he'll pay you $1,000 if you ever get tired of playing. If you get tired of playing the game, this is the quote. Let's see. That's another thing that I can guarantee you with It Takes Two. It's impossible, and quote me on this, to get tired of the game. You could put this as the headline. I could literally give $1,000 to anyone who says, oh, I'm tired of the game now because it doesn't surprise me. $1,000, I guarantee. I'll give it to everyone who gets tired, but they have to be honest about it.
I have to bring up the final paragraph in this article, by the way.
Uh-huh.
where it just says Ferris isn't a stranger to making big bold statements. Back at the Game Awards in 2017, he said "fuck the Oscars," and has since explained that he was not on cocaine at the time, like some people thought. I love that. That's something that has to be explained.
This dude, he just speaks his mind and he doesn't give a shit, and he just keeps making games and they sell, and so he doesn't give a shit. Like it's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll make my own game. Yeah, I love this guy. I can't wait to play this game. I feel like this should have been in the isn't this on the PlayStation?
Yeah, that's how we first found out about it. It was on one of the PlayStation showcases.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he actually puts his money where his mouth is about this whole thing, because, a lot of people are going to lie. You're going to just be like, you're lying. I can tell. I can look at your face and tell that you're lying. All right. Real quick. El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron is going to be released on the PC pretty soon. Do you remember El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron?
It sounds really familiar.
It was one of like 3 games that we actually did like a loading bar animated review for back in the Spill days. And it's this weird, like, I think it's like Hebrew mythology action adventure side scrolling game where everybody's super hot. And I bet that if you look on that Spill archive channel, that our El Shaddai review still exists at some point, because it was like one of.
It sounds hella familiar.
Yeah. In any case, that's coming to the PC. I'm going to skip over that. Did you get a chance to watch this video, Michael?
No.
This crazy guy on the internet that does stuff basically decided that like the Rumble controller on a PlayStation controller does not have enough rumble. So he got this like giant like spinning like a washing machine, like a dryer spinner, and hooked it up to the electronics of the Rumble, and then like made it so that when he shoots the gun in Far Cry, this huge Rumble thing just like shakes his entire desk like nobody's business.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Later on, he has to tape all of the things on his desk down so that when he shoots, it doesn't literally vibrate the monitor off the side of the desk and onto the floor.
That's amazing.
It is kind of great. And last but not least, we got a trailer for Mythic Quest Season 2. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a thing, and it's happening.
Some people really like that first season a lot. I know you liked chunks of it.
I liked parts of it. I just felt like it could have been so much more, and that they went for a lot of like low-hanging fruit. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, maybe the second season will work better.
Maybe so.
The first seasons don't always work. You can look at Parks and Rec's first season.
Yep.
Famously said.
Yep. And that's May 7th on Apple Plus, and that's it. It's so late. We're so tired, but we did it.
Oh shit, yeah.
We packed two weeks of podcast into a 1 week fucking bag. Go check out more from Michael over at oneofus.net. And you can send questions to mail@rageselect.com. I can't say that we're ever going to actually get to answer them, but I'm trying. I'm trying real hard. I have a good excuse this week.
Absolutely.
I have a good excuse this week.